What's up, Tampa? It's January 9th, and Happy New Year, by the way.
Yeah, Happy New Year, 2026. That's kind of crazy. Well, thanks for joining us, and welcome to Tampa Talk.
So for those of you just tuning in, just joining us in this new year, I'm John.
And I'm Dahlia, and let's get into it.
All right, so what are we talking about?
Well, for this week in the work, I think we'd be remiss, is that the right word, to not mention the new food pyramid that kind of was released by the current administration, which you can visit if you want to see it. You can go to realfood.gov and see it for yourself.
Snazzy government website.
I was most impressed by that.
So it's a really good website.
Hitting the positives off for it, because, you know, a lot of people have a lot of things to say, and I'm sure as this continues to circulate, people will have more things to say. Congrats on a quality government website. I mean, government websites usually suck, and this one was colorful and attention grabbing, and the user experience I think is really strong. Whether you agree with it or not, the visualization was fantastic.
I was, however, antsy to see the pyramid, which you have to have a little bit of patience.
Yeah, to
I
get
watched
through
the video, no pyramid.
Yeah.
Scrolled down, no pyramid. Statistics, no pyramid.
Yeah.
And then I got to the pyramid, which I thought was beautifully done. So I love that it's upside down. I'm a fan of
It's not a pyramid.
flipping upside. I mean, it's
just an upside down triangle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's not a pyramid.
Yeah, it's not a pyramid.
So what do we think about it?
I have mixed reviews on it. I mean, positives first. I think that, again, just like the colors and visualizations of it are strong. I mean, it's really important. You have to remember that while there's a ton of reports and other materials to go alongside with this, the average person is just going to see the visual of it. And so I almost have two lenses to view it within. One is if you read it all, from a food system professional standpoint, there's a ton of information to digest.
I did notice, I looked at a picture and I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And I looked over and you had some 100-page document open on your computer. Right?
Yeah. And so I do think it's important if you're in the space to read the document, because I think it answers a lot of questions, provides a lot of context for why they chose to go certain routes. My actual favorite thing about the entire publication is a table that they put in the report, which again, nobody's going to see. But if you're a food system professional, I think you should go to look at.
They will, since you encourage them to.
Yeah, I think you should go and check that out, because that table actually goes over the recommendations that they were provided with based on the advisory committee that they created, and everything that they implemented, partially implemented, and did not implement. And I think that's a really transparent piece of information, because you can see decisions, which might even be some critiques people have of it. One thing that you're going to hear people say is there's pretty much no, in the imagery, reference to plant-based protein options. There's a little image of beans, and that's kind of it. I mean, of course, egg, there are a lot of vegetables have protein.
So moringa or chia or something like that.
Or even just black beans, red beans, chickpeas, legumes.
Yeah, okay, right.
There's not a lot of visualization of that. And in the document, it promotes animal proteins over plant proteins, which is expected of this administration, I think. Anyways, regardless to say, one of the recommendations you see in this table is to encourage plant-based proteins, and you can see in the no column that they said, nope, we're not going to do that, right? But I think it's cool that the table's in the document, because as somebody who wants to double click, you can see that still says a healthcare, a nutritionist basically said we should include this. The government decided not to, but that. Where that decision making fell. And I think that's pretty cool that's in there. Anyway, so I really enjoyed reading the documents. So that's a long way of saying I have two lenses with which I'm critiquing. For the purpose of keeping it simple here on Tampa Talk, I'm going to talk about the visualization of it all.
Okay.
I would like to have seen more delineated categories.
Yeah, me too.
We talked about...
They lumped protein and fats together in one block and gave a number that we're is that... But the number seemed to be a protein count, and it was these are not the same thing.
Right.
Fats and oils and protein are not the same thing. And then fruits and vegetables. That was another one that bothered me a little bit. Why is that one thing?
Yeah, because you should definitely not consider eating fruits the same as getting your vegetable intake.
At all.
Yeah.
Right.
I thought it was really interesting that we've officially got big cereal out of the conversation.
See you bye.
Yeah.
That's the big victory of all of this is what's not here.
Yes.
And it's this is a huge win against what was criminal to begin with.
I totally agree with that. And it's so funny because a couple days ago, I was bashing breakfast as the most important meal of the day. I think breakfast is the least important meal of the day.
What did they say? This movie? No, it was a stupid It's a meal made up by the cereal people.
It's a meal made up by the cereal people. It's such an American-centric view of like what you should eat in a day. It is in no way how our ancestors, and again, I'm not a nutritionist. This is not nutritional guidelines, but like I kept saying to Savannah, it's not my culture. I grew up where my parents gave us like basically no breakfast. If they did, it was maybe a leftover in the car. Maybe it was heck, I was probably having espresso before I had breakfast. Like it was just not a part of my culture. We were big on like cookies, like they're like whole grain breakfast cookies. And that's like very Italian. You dip them in hot milk or you dip them in your espresso and you go on with your day and you don't eat until lunch.
Those little biscotti things.
Yes. And
not a fan.
And I'm not promoting that as a nutritional guideline, but like,
sure.
I prefer it. And anyways, regardless, breakfast is not the most important meal of the day, and I think Big Cereal has been pushing that idea for a long time, and we saw that reflected in the food pyramid the way it used to be, and it's gone, and I'm happy for that. I think that's a big win. I think it is very protein-centric, which I don't think is maybe the most accessible like diet for people, and maybe not even where like I would have prioritized vegetables over the protein in my own personal like view of like what is accessible, what is achievable, what is nutrient dense. So anyways, overall, I mean, my overarching... Oh, and the last thing I'll say is if we're going to emphasize protein, the quality of that protein should have been... like, I would have loved for it to say quality protein, dairy, and healthy fats, because I think the, like, early fears American nutrition guidelines had about, like, red meat and even eggs and a lot of these saturated fats or... things that are considered to give you like high cholesterol is largely because of the quality of that protein, not the like presence of protein, you know? And so if we're pushing Americans to eat steak and chicken and more protein, the quality of that protein is super important. And you see a lot of that even coming out of the American Heart Association with their communications around eggs, and originally saying like, don't eat eggs if you have high cholesterol, to now saying eat quality eggs if you're going to eat eggs, because a quality egg does not have the cholesterol in it, like the poor quality eggs. So I would like to see quality protein.
There's like a part of me that wants to like get into a spirited conversation around this, but that is probably not for the
but share your thoughts really quick. Yeah.
But no, I do think the big the eating cholesterol and having cholesterol thing I have a lot of thoughts on, because I just don't think they have anything to do with each other. I actually think having high cholesterol has a lot more to do with the grains and cereals and things like that, and in combination with these terrible oils and fats. But the big thing that stood out to me is like, I'm a fan of that diet where I'm like, yeah, meat and veggies at the top. Not just that. I'm like, that's how I think we should eat. Right. And I'm like, yeah, get rid of these. And even the grains, I'm like, yeah, you leave them on there, but like, I'm good on that. But also this is an expensive way to eat. So it's not a highly accessible thing in terms of like thinking about like, what, you know, people still buy a lot of highly processed foods because they're poor, because they're working class, and because culturally we've like inundated people. So I like that we're changing the narrative. And then we'll see what we can do with, you know, supplemental nutrition assistance programs alongside guidelines like this. And maybe we can make these quality foods available to more people. But currently, I do think there's a real challenge to go, here's how everyone should eat, but good luck.
Can't afford it, yeah. And one thing I'll just close out on that thought process is, who is this really going to affect? And that is federally funded meal programs. So the average American...
Because they have to do it.
Because they have to do it.
Yeah.
And so the way that you see school systems...
lunch is going to be like steak.
And even like military.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We'll see how long.
That's awesome.
And military bases, right? Like that's who it's actually going to affect, is like federally funded programs.
Because my plate beat was the one before this, and they're like, no, you have to serve it like this. You have to create
the grains and So, and that's where you saw a lot of like potato, and even just like the question of like the vegetable portion on that my plate being potatoes or corn. I'm like, yeah, but those might as well not eat those, right? And how can schools fit this within their budgetary constraints? How is that going to affect how many people have access to free lunch programs if they're trying to make them this protein heavy and, you know, whole food heavy? Mm-hmm. So that's actually like the accessibility question is going to be interesting. And a lot of that's going to come through the federally funded programs. Ultimately, I don't think the average American is looking at this and changing their diet. I don't think any of or we've strayed a long way from just like the government said do this, we're going to do it.
Sure. Yeah.
But I think that there's some pluses and minuses. I think that people should read the actual report. And if you want to go a step further, compare it to the 2020 dietary guidelines.
That's the My Plate one.
That's the old one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, which My Plate is in, but like.
Well, the old pyramid far preceded that.
Correct, but that was another one of my feedbacks is they go from 1992 to 2025, and there's like a lot that's happened in between that. So I would have been interested to see them build off My Plate as well, opposed to jumping. I mean, I think that was first Bush administration, 1992. I don't know. You're American, is that correct? I was dead. So.
I feel like those go back. I could be, I don't know.
Yeah.
But if you'd have made me guess, I'd have said 70s.
Well, that pyramid that they put on their imagery is 1992.
92?
Like on their website, yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know when the official pyramid.
The early one, because I think it was even earlier.
Yeah. But anyways, so I think people should take a look, and I really, really encourage people to double click on the reports that they provided. There's one that's a really good summary, which is more graphic and a couple pages. And that's my biggest takeaway is if I have to leave on one positive and one negative, it's the positive is great visual guidelines. I mean, just maybe people will look at it. If your goal is for people to look at what the government's putting out there, this is the kind of media, like the kind of visualization of that.
I will say I wanted to eat everything on the picture.
Yeah.
It looked delicious.
Yeah. And maybe my biggest negative would be maybe the accessibility issue of this kind of diet. And there's still a bias.
It would be fair to say that is another question, though. So there's the nutritional guideline, and then there's the equity challenge or something like that. But
income challenge. I mean, forget.
But to change the so if guidance being what it is, it's look, if this is what's good for you, this is what's good for you.
Yeah.
Can we get it? Is another question.
Correct, and they do explicitly state that at the front of their document is they actually straight up like. I'm totally paraphrasing, but they're like, we're ditching the whole equity thing and just putting out what we think is good for you.
Nutritional guidelines.
Yeah.
We should get into Tampa talk. All right. Speaking of things that shape how we live, let's talk take a step back into Tampa's past.
Yeah. So this week, and we're in January, so Gasparilla is going to be the topic of conversation for the next month. And this week in 1934, the Ballad of Gasparilla by H. Edgar Wayman was published in the Tampa Tribune.
So the poem helps solidify the legend of Jose Gaspar, the mythical pirate tied closely to Tampa's identity. Mythical. Y'all hear that?
Yeah. If you didn't know, now you know. Or maybe we should wait till after Gasparilla to tell them that it's a myth. But
there were no pirates in Tampa, actually. Yeah. All Tampa piracy is myth.
But along with earlier stories like the life and exploits of Gasparilla, the last of the Buccaneers, it helped lay the groundwork for what became the Gasparilla Pirate Festival, which actually started back in 1904.
And in 1904, do you know what that was that they did that was the early Gasparilla?
May Day. It was the May Day parade.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
And I'm sure you'll hear lots more about Gasparilla from us because it's going to be probably a lot of our This Week in History.
A lot of Tampa history. And so from legends of the past to present day shakeups, let's talk about some sports.
Yeah, so there were some big changes at one Buck place this week.
So the Buccaneers fired offensive coordinator Josh Grizzard after just one season.
And this move follows a tough second half of the season with only 2 wins after the Week 9 bye.
So the head coach hinted at staff changes earlier in the week.
And then in addition to Gizzard, multiple coaches were fired or retired, including quarterback coach Thad Lewis, special teams coordinator Thomas McGaughey, and defensive coaches Kevin Ross and Charlie Strong. That's like everybody. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know if it's everybody. There's a bunch of people, though. Yeah. There's some shifts going on the field, and there's maybe some around City Hall. There's been movement at the state level.
Yeah, so the Florida Attorney's General Office accused the city of Winter Haven of failing to enforce the state's ban on public camping and sleeping.
So the complaint focused on Kiwanis Park and Central Avenue.
And then Winter Haven responded by emphasizing the homelessness itself is not a crime.
But the city also acknowledged it's a challenge.
Yeah, and so they don't currently have a homeless center, and the closest one is in Lakeland. And I think why we're sharing this news in Tampa Talk is also like this is a policy that also affects our Tampa community.
We already reported on one of the lawsuits that came out of Pinellas, I believe, was one of the first lawsuits that we saw.
So we're seeing it across the state and across the Tampa Bay.
So this has been a big deal. You guys know we recently opened the Drop, and that is on Nebraska Avenue, and it's very centrally located between north, south, east, west. It's like right in the middle, really, if you look at a map of Tampa. And a lot of folks that are on the streets don't have reliable transportation. Maybe they have yet to earn a bike at WellBuilt Bikes or whatever, but they use the bus routes when they can afford them. And unfortunately, Route 1, so we started hearing, is no longer, there was another policy change in it. So they have eliminated the free bus ride for Fare 1. It was free for,
I think it was just a year.
Yeah, and it was kind of a pilot project on a grant. Cost a lot of money for them to do. But as of Sunday, they retired that program. They did expand weekend hours in addition, like to normal paying fares. So there's more Saturday, Sunday trips. But that is a unfortunate thing. It's back to what, $2 a ride?
Yeah, and then during the pilot, ridership increased by 45%. And this is interesting, just coming back from Toronto over the holidays, where public transportation is such a huge part of our city's infrastructure. And it does suck that we don't have it here, but also it's not sustainable to have free rides, right? So like, what is this like balance that and so the reason I bring that up is what's interesting is, in Toronto, we do discounted rides for seniors and discounted rides for children. And it'd be interesting to see how can we tier our...
I think they do have some discount things like that here for seniors. And then there is what's called the Sunshine...
Yeah, line. Yeah, for ADA accessibility.
So that's who I have mostly known, but I have heard that there are some application processes that could, like, say, if you're on the streets or something, you might be able to qualify, which I do need to look into because we're waiting to see how much this plays out with attendance at the Drop. But word on the streets to us has been like, hey, this might really affect my ability to get there. Like if I'm downtown and I want to come over there and take a shower, like I was using the one.
Yeah. And what would be interesting to see come out of this too is like part of the ability to invest in this transportation infrastructure is ridership. So if
That's
like
right. That's
it increased
why they
by,
did this.
Yeah, so if it increased by 45%, hopefully they're able to maintain that to some degree, because if we increase the like safety and security and public perception of public transportation, it encourages the city to continue to develop and continue to provide further like discounts. If you have more people, like that sliding scale approach that we operate within, if you have more people paying full price, can you actually do a voucher for people who really need it, right? Because there are programs like that. I mean, again, I was just home. New Year's Eve was free to avoid drunk driving incidents, and like they do peak hour discounts so that less people are on the highways. Like the only way to be able to create it though with that is ridership. And so like hopefully what comes out of this is that people will use it if it's there for them, and maybe then you can create more of a sliding scale approach to it.
So I mentioned this, they did increase the weekend hours. It looks like they're doing like every 15 minute during peak weekend hours. So that's Saturdays and Sundays. And when I used to run, what's that?
It's weekday hours too.
Weekday. Oh, I'm sorry. 15 minutes is weekdays.
Yeah.
It might be 20 minutes weekends.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's 20 minutes weekends. I misspoke. But the weekend hours was, and actually this was interesting because I think City Council asked for $3 million to do this again, but they got approved. They had approved at 1.5, and so it had to be a decision between more buses running during the weekends, which is a huge feedback of this pilot.
Yeah.
Or free rides on the one, and they went with the more frequent rides, because the buses, basically what they were hearing was like every single, this is actually for ridership.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
They're like you couldn't get on a bus, so when it came, it was full.
Yeah.
No, like, so we need more buses.
Yeah.
And so there was a substantial amount of people using them.
And if you're using the bus, like I know that one of the early, like when I was more involved with WellBuilt Bikes' Earn a Bike program, people would say like the bus only comes every hour. So like how am I supposed to plan my schedule around that?
Well, that was so it was Sunday when back in the day when I was in college, your little USF pass would get you on the bus. And I used to ride it a lot back then, and I was like, Sundays, like it's every hour. But then when COVID came, they just went to that. Like it was like, that's everything now.
Yeah, which is insane.
It's insane. You can do nothing. And then if you need to get another connecting bus, you're like, this is over.
Yeah. And so then you don't have anybody using it versus
nobody.
Again, anyways, it's just always a remark. And it's funny because we're always going to demand more. Like, I'm home in Toronto and everyone's complaining about the public transportation system. I'm like, wait, what?
It's
like,
so good. Yeah,
you so
come
good.
to Tampa for like a week. You'll come back and like kiss somebody.
You can get
kiss a bus driver.
A 2-hour radius out of the downtown core of Toronto on a train. You can get an hour out on a subway. You can get anywhere on a bus. And they run on 15-minute schedules from all different, like, it's insane. It's so insane. And people are complaining about it, which is great. Push for more. Always push for more. Anyway, so I hope to see that more happen here for us.
Well, let's move from policy to pure indulgence.
Yeah, so the opposite of the new food guideline is this Florida State Fair and their new foods that they published as what you can expect at the Florida State Fair in this year. So the Florida State Fair, I believe, is the 5th through the 12th, I want to say. And we'll be there again, well-fed community, doing cooking demos. So it's essentially 2 weekends and then the week in between.
Yep.
But if you want to know what's or what you can expect to find, the 5th through the 16th. If you can want to look at what you can find, highlights include America's. Oh, another thing to add, it's the 250 years of America, so the state fairs all themed that as well as are most state fairs around the country this year. Yeah, so you'll see that like theme throughout the fair. So you have America's birthday cake iced tea.
Birthday cake iced tea?
Yeah, I don't even know how I feel about that. You have birria street corn, birria taco pizza. You've got candy grapes, chimichurri cheese curds, deep fried Cuban burrito. That's insane.
That
sounds like a heart attack.
You shouldn't eat this, but that sounds awesome.
That's insane. And then Dubai chocolate has been all over social media. And so you're going to get Dubai chocolate funnel cake, flaming hot elote fries, Nashville hot chicken tots, Reese's Pieces donut burger. That sounds like another.
None of this is on the pyramid, by the way. Not an item on here.
And I don't even know how I feel about this one. I want to know what that one looks like. Sushi corn dog. Anyways, if you want to, I don't even know how to visualize that one. But
anyway, is it a corn dog?
But how is it a sushi corn dog?
I mean, I've seen sushi push pops. Have you seen those?
Yeah, I've seen that. So maybe that's probably what it is.
But it's a corn dog. That sounds like there's a hot dog in it, and there's some cornbread going on.
It might be like a hot dog in the center, and then rice on the outside, and then deep fried.
Could it be sushi in the middle with cornbread around it? That'd be dope. That'd be good.
Yeah, that'd be good. If you want to know what these look like, you can check out our newsletter, Word on the Streets at XYZ, that we put out. If you're subscribed to that, we have some imagery about it. My favorite from last year, and I'll get it again this year. So my OG is bacon on a stick. But my second that I found last year is a pickle sub. So
anything pickle is good.
They use pickle as the bread. They use like a massive pickle as the bread, and then you get like an Italian sub on it. So there's no bread.
That sounds amazing.
There's no bread.
That sounds like a great that sounds like a healthy.
It sounds like
option.
It's on the new food pyramid.
No, that I would. Yeah, literally, if there was like one of these sub shops was just doing that, I would eat that constantly.
I think either Jersey Mike's or Firehouse Subs does it.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna swing by.
Yeah, because I raved about it and somebody told me that. I didn't check it out, but yeah.
So there's a parking update with the zoo?
Yeah, so staying local but switching gears, ZooTampa announced a change visitors will definitely notice, which is that free parking is officially over. Parking now costs $7 through the Park mobile app starting January 5th.
But members still park for free.
Yes. So non-members, including Zoo Fund ticket holders, will need to pay, and ZooTampa says the fee supports safety and traffic updates. Events going on this weekend. We've got the Harlem Globetrotters 100-year tour taking place Sunday, January 11th at the Yuengling Center. It costs $52 to attend, and it's going to be at 3 p.m.
The Globetrotters started 100 years ago?
I guess, yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, I'm assuming that's what they would call that.
Yeah. That's what it would imply. And that's at the Yuengling Center?
You're always really excited about the Harlem Globetrotters whenever the event comes around.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like 100 years. I don't know.
And then the world's largest rubber duck visits Coachman Park. And the 61-foot installation named Mama Duck will grace downtown Clearwater for 3 weeks. That's so insane that there's a whole event around.
And if you're thinking to yourself, who would pay to see that? It's free.
Yeah. That makes it more palatable for sure.
Go ahead. We will also be out at Harvest Hope this morning from 10:30 to 11:30 sharing groceries. Not true?
No, that's true. And then Ybor Street Community Garden from 3 to 5.
3 to 5.
Yes.
Got it. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Please do comment, rate the show, share tampatalk.xyz so we can get more followers of the show. And then wordonthestreets.xyz is where you can go to subscribe to the newsletter that she mentioned earlier.
Yeah, if you want to know what a sushi corn dog looks like. But that's what we're talking about, everyone. And thank you for joining us. Until next time.
Y'all be good.